here in case we run into any Facebook issues. Facebook has not been my friend lately. All right, Facebook. What is that? What in the world? All right, I don't know what that means. That's okay. Getting weird messages from Facebook. Facebook is just out for me this month. I don't know what it is. They don't want my life to be easy. Right. Okay, so I'm going to put a quick title in here that'll get updated later. Samalid. All right, so I'm going to hit the go live button. I'm making weird faces. Hopefully those weird faces don't carry over. Okay. Can you still hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes.
All right. Oh, I see us. I see us. Here we are. So I'm going to pull us up. Okay. Perfect. And then I'll get right back over here. Wonderful. Look at that. No problems at all. Thanks, universe. All right, so thank you everyone for tuning in this week for So Ask Us. We have with us Samalid Hogan, who is the Regional Director for the Massachusetts Small Business Development Center, Western Mass. And we have so much in store and so much to talk about. Samalid, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Hannah.
Yes. So you and I had the good fortune to meet because, you know, the Mill District works with a lot of small businesses, both our current tenants and also folks who might be looking to open a business in the Mill District in the future. And we had a chance to walk around and talk, and I was just so floored and blown away by all the different things that your office does in support of small business and entrepreneurs. And so I'm going to turn it over to you. Can you just give us kind of an overview of what your work is about and how you're connecting with folks around the needs of their business and business development?
Sure. So the Massachusetts Small Business Development Center Network, we have many offices throughout the state. I think we got 7. And under our umbrella, we have the business advisory centers, which are the small business centers. Mine is one of them. And we have a procurement technical assistance program that's part of MSBDC, as well as the Mass Export Center. And the way we work with small business owners is through these one-to-one advisory sessions. It's confidential, it's free of charge. We are funded by the Small Business Administration, the state of Massachusetts, and then we have local sponsors who help us match those grant dollars that go into a program. And so we work by appointment. We have all of our clients go on our website and fill out a request for counseling form that goes into our system. So we have their general contact information and we set up appointments. Right now, throughout the pandemic, obviously, all of our appointments are being done virtually on the phone or via Zoom. And we work on many aspects of the business. Many of our clients are startups. They started business recently or they're looking to start a business, but we also work with many existing businesses who are looking to get financing to expand their business, or as it is the case now throughout the pandemic, they're looking for financing to stay afloat. They're looking for, they need help with SBA programs or grants, and we'll provide that one-to-one help to help them navigate all of those programs.
That is so incredible.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in addition,
keep going, because I know that's not the end.
Yeah, there's more. So, but I didn't want to just take over the whole show.
Take it over.
But I will say, so in addition to the one-to-ones, we do have a very comprehensive educational programming that we offer. You can find it on our website, msbdc.org, and go to our training page. And there you'll see a very long list of webinars being offered by all of our offices throughout the state, including the Mass Export Center and the PTAC program that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's all virtual right now, so you can attend to any of those. And I would say 99.9% of them are all free.
Wow. It blows my mind. And I think, I know that Massachusetts really feels out ahead sometimes when it comes to supporting small businesses. And, the work that your office does offering these things for free, especially in this time of COVID. I mean, how have you found the sort of necessity of things going virtual? Has that been helpful? Do you feel like more people are reaching out because it's almost easier to carve out the time for one-on-one counseling, or there are more people that are looking to really shift their business into its next phase, and so they're finding you that way?
Right. So for our office, we used to do everything in person, Hannah. Everything, absolutely everything. Even our workshops. And for a long time, we dreamed of being able to offer webinars. Well, guess what? We were
Yeah.
forced to offer webinars when the pandemic happened, because there was no other way we could continue to offer our
Right.
monthly business basics, or our understanding your business financial webinars, or introduction to QuickBooks, or
Yes.
how to market your business, online. And so there was all of that content that we have, and we're very fortunate. We have a great community here in Western Mass of supporters who are very talented, have their expertise
Yeah.
in all those areas, and they will do these webinars for us free of charge, so that
Uh-huh.
folks can benefit from all the information. By the way, we've recorded, I would say, 90% of all of our webinars, and they are posted on between our Facebook and our YouTube page. So that's something new for us too on YouTube. But to your question about whether it's harder or easier for people to reach out to us, I would say it's easier, absolutely,
Yeah.
because there's not the drive to go to Springfield anymore. We
Right.
have our offices are located at Springfield Technology Park at the Shibeli Enterprise Center on the third floor. And we do have free parking up front. There's a security guard, there's free Wi-Fi in the building, so we have a great location there for
Yeah.
our business, well, for our offices. We're sort of like a business, even though we're a
Yeah.
nonprofit, government funded program, but we run as almost like a consulting
Yeah.
advisory firm. So anyway, so our clients, they were fortunate. Once they got to a location, they had secure parking, no issues there. But they would come from everywhere, from
Yeah.
Greenfield, from Northampton. And so the drive could be as far as 45 minutes or even an hour from some of the folks that come from farther away. That's one of the reasons, Hannah, that we also, when I joined this office about, I want to say would be 5 years in July. One of
Wow.
the things that I decided I wanted to do was to get out there in the community more. So we opened up outreach locations in other areas. Since the pandemic, of course, we haven't been in
Yeah.
our outreach centers, but we would meet with clients up in Greenfield at the one point we were meeting people at the Greenfield at the Chamber of Commerce, Franklin County Chamber of Commerce
Hmm.
up there. Now we're meeting with people at the Franklin County CDC offices there, where the Western Mass Food Processing Center is
Yeah.
located at, and Northampton Chamber at the Amherst Chamber, or the bid office, because they have a combined office. We would meet people at the Chicopee Chamber, and then we have people our offices in Springfield, and we would do office hours on occasion at Valley Venture Mentors. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
we really looked to expand our reach and be accessible to all entrepreneurs. And the funny story about Chicopee, so because Chicopee is so close to Springfield, so people would say, like, how come you're doing office hours in Chicopee? Like, it's like a stone throw away from Springfield. So I had a client who needed public transportation, and she lived in Chicopee, so she didn't have her own transportation. And as you know, it could be challenging for folks to
Yeah.
get to the for an appointment, right? Because if I
Right.
say 11 o'clock, you
Yeah.
don't
That
want to
could be
show
an
up at
hour
11:30.
before for someone. Yeah.
Right. And so I told her, let me find a, so she told me, I live in Chicopee. I don't have a car. I really want to talk to you. I'm looking to start my own restaurant, and I really want to talk to you guys." And I said, We do want to do our first appointment in person."
Yeah.
And so I reached out to the Chicopee Chamber, and they hosted us for office hours for a long time until they moved their offices and they went through their own transition. So things change over time, but
Yeah.
we really do aim to be as accessible to people as possible. And right now we're doing it by phone and via Zoom.
That's so incredible. I feel like you just are so plugged into the larger ecosystem in the Valley, which is great. And I'm glad that you brought up chambers, because I was curious how your office and how the kind of the whole organization fits in with what a chamber of commerce is supposed to do, which, largely is support small businesses. How do you see your work and the work of a local chamber fitting together and sort of coexisting and supporting?
They're absolutely complementary. If you
Yeah,
ask any chamber, they don't offer technical assistance
right.
per se. Absolutely, they can give you advice. They
Hmm.
can, if you're looking to go into a city or town as a new business, my first advice to someone is, have you talked to your local chamber and get
Yes.
some information? Who are the other businesses in the area? Where are the, where is the real estate available? Can I get plugged in into, start networking and connecting to the people? So that's really, the purpose of the chamber,
Yeah.
from my perspective, is to connect you to other local businesses and to build that community of support between the businesses, advocacy at the for legislature level,
Mm.
for laws, or whether it's local ordinance or statewide laws. A lot of chambers are very plugged into that. That's something we don't do at
Yeah.
all. And so I really see it's complementary, like the services that we provide. I think every chamber should be definitely connected to us, and many of them are. Some of them, as you can imagine, I have 4 people in my office now. At one point, it was only, well, it was 3 of us to begin with. One of them is our admin, right? And then you have 2 business advisors, one of them me,
Yeah.
and being the regional director too. So our capacity was really limited for,
Yeah.
you know, um, we cover Hamden, Hampshire, and Franklin County, and we see over 500 clients, in a year. So I
Yeah.
have anywhere from, 10 to 15 appointments in a week. And so as you can imagine, we're really restricted in time. So we've connected with a lot of the chambers. Some of them we haven't connected with yet. Love to connect with you. We put their logos on our newsletter. We make sure people know about them. When we talk to folks that are from their city or town, we mention them all the
Yeah.
time. And most recently too, we've connected with Living Local, Bill Cole, and promoted that effort as well through our
Hmm.
newsletter and through post, and when we talk to clients, we'll let them know about them as well. And so yeah, I think if any chamber that's listening to this message right now is not connected to us, I welcome a quick meeting with you, and we'll put a
Yes.
logo on our newsletter. Obviously, we're restricted to the Western Mass area right now. So
Sure.
if you're in the eastern side of the state, you want to connect with your SBDC closest to you, which you can find in our website.
Yes. All right, I'm making all these notes for myself because I want to put it
Mhm.
all in the content when I post this video, because it really, in this time of COVID, I think it's been so interesting. And I'm curious about your opinion on this. We've been kind of under this storm cloud of Amazon, of online shopping for a while, even pre-COVID, where everyone was like, oh, well, retail's dead, local business is dead. But I don't see that to be true when I look around. There's actually now, with COVID, a sort of move back towards supporting local, and people kind of taking that up as their charge to make sure that local businesses are supported. How do you, working so closely with small businesses, what do you see as some of the trends, either in COVID or even pre-COVID, that as far as sort of small businesses not only surviving but growing based on people making a point to shop locally?
Right. So one of the things that we work on with clients too, when we talk about their marketing
Mm,
strategy and tactics too, it's about, what makes your store unique.
yeah.
What are some of the unique services or or points, or whether it's a product or service, or you need things that you can offer your clients and customers to keep and grow them, right? Because
Mm,
that's what it's all about. And it comes down to systems. There's a lot of systems to organize your business and your
yeah.
marketing, and customer loyalty programs, giving points to customers, encouraging them to come back, starting an email newsletter and put it on auto, so that
Yeah.
you have an email newsletter going out, whether it's once a week or once a month, and there's a purpose to it. There might be a particular product that you're getting into your store that's brand new for the season, and or maybe you're doing a big sale, or you really when you talk about small businesses in a local, it's really about finding your niche and
Yeah.
exploiting the heck out of it, of your niche,
In the best way.
becoming the
Yeah.
expert on that niche, whatever it is. And I'm reminded, there's this toy store, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of it, but it's in Lomero. And I remember, like, when Toys R Us went belly up and went away, and Babies R Us went away, I used to
Mm,
go to Boston Road in Springfield, across from the Eastview Mall, to get every time I got a toy, or I thought about I need to get some toys either for a birthday, or I would get invited to a birthday party and they would send me we are registered in Toys R Us, or maybe like a baby shower or whatever.
yeah.
I used to go there. They're not there anymore. So I was going to Amazon for a long time. I think it's Toyland. I think it's Toyland right in
Hmm.
Lomero, right across from the Big Y there. And so one day I went to my insurance company, which is in that area, and I saw the toy store, and I was like, oh my God, there's an actual toy store here in Western. Like, I was like so excited. And they have great toy. So I go there every time. Now when I think of toys, I'm taking a trip to Lomero to go to that toy store.
Yes.
There's also another toy store in Northampton, for example. I'm sure there's many more, and I
Yeah.
apologize, I can't name them all because I don't know them all. But right next, Northampton downtown, kind of like across from from across from City Hall, more or less. There's a toy store there too, and they
A
have
to
some
Z.
really great
Yes.
variety of educational toys, some apparel,
Yes.
some, it's really tiny, small. It's right next to Joya Beauty, where you can also get like your
Oh,
beauty products and stuff. So, like, I'm
okay.
just finding these little gems of stores where they specialize in what they do. So if I want an
Yeah.
educational toy, I know where to go to. And that's part of that impression that I got from those small businesses is what really is so important. And it
Yeah.
comes down to consistency. You're
Hmm.
serving a specific niche, stick with it, really own it, and be consistent with your hours too. Because the last thing you want to do is show up to the store you thought they were open, on
Yes.
Saturdays, and all of a sudden they're not, or a specific time when they open at 9 a.m. and it's 9:15 and I'm waiting out the door. Like, I
Right.
don't want that experience. And it's happened with a lot of small business owners. And I understand we have families and we have, things that come up and everything, but just trying to figure out plans for those things that could happen to ensure the customer experience is spot on and
Yeah.
and excellent in every single way. That's what's going to create customer loyalty. And they understand they could get in Amazon in 2 days, but guess what?
Right.
They're gonna prefer to take the ride to your store, be able to touch it, see it, smell it, and
Yes.
and buy it from you,
Yeah.
if you build that loyalty and that following in your niche.
Yes, absolutely. I think you point to something that's such at the core of it, which is that people do prefer that experience. And so if you can make that experience easy, seamless, consistent, stable, it really, really helps. And you're here, your office is here doing everything from giving that kind of advice to helping people navigate things like the PPP loans and stuff that for some small businesses is like,
Nerve
I've had,
wracking.
yeah, I've had a friend, uh, not here down in North Carolina, but who just straight up was like, I didn't get into business to have to like navigate this kind of loan. It's just so out of the wheelhouse for a lot of people. How do you make sort of larger issues like the PPP loan or someone who before didn't really have an online presence and now finds that it's absolutely necessary and they have to overhaul, their entire operation. How do you strive to make that more approachable and really feel possible for some of the smaller businesses?
Right. So first of all, I have to point out that every small business owner should assemble their dream team. And
Mm,
and that's always that when I speak to folks who are just starting a business or people who have existing businesses, spoken to people who have businesses for 30 years, whether it's manufacturing or landscaping, or maybe it's a massage therapist or someone in private practice, a psychiatrist in private practice, or a dentist, whoever. We've spoken to almost
everyone.
every type of business under the sun.
Amazing.
Folks that do cakes from home, or cupcakes or cookies, or they're trying to sell some jar sauce or whatever. Like, we spoke with many different types of businesses, and I feel like we have something to offer to guide them, depending on what their needs are.
Yeah.
And when someone for all of them, assembling the dream team. Who's in the dream team, right? You have, first of all, you have your business advisor, right here. You have a business advisor
Sure.
who can connect you to, perhaps, if you don't have other members of your dream team, we can connect you. Who is in your dream team? You have an attorney. Okay, you need to have a friend
Mm.
attorney. Like, it doesn't have to be your best friend, but you have to have an attorney that you trust.
They probably won't be your best friend.
Right. They probably won't be your best friend. Your best friend doesn't send you, a bill, after talking to them, right?
Hopefully.
If they started sending you bills after talking to you, you probably wouldn't be friends with them anymore.
Right.
But with an attorney, it's a very specific purpose. Obviously, they're experts in their field. You want to find an attorney that's very that their niche is businesses, right? They might do real estate on the side, that's fine. But an attorney that does family law, for example, for family law issues, perfect, awesome, but not necessarily for business issues. And I think many of them will tell you that if you reach out to an attorney. Can they do other things? Absolutely. But if you want to have someone that you can call, in years to come, like every year, whenever you have an issue, you want to find a business attorney, your accountant, an accountant, whether a CPA or an accountant, there's a little bit of a difference there, but someone that's really, really good with numbers, that they do this for a living for you and for other businesses, you got to have them on your speed dial. You have to build that relationship, because they're going to help you when things like this, like the PPP came up. Many of the folks who had accountants or CPAs that were on their speed dial, that they have built a relationship with, were able to help them navigate through that and send applications in a less stressful way. Things went a little bit more smoother. Nothing's ever going to be super easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? But so having or like Tony Robbins, I heard him speak a couple of times, and one time he mentioned that one of the things that people really needed the most during this pandemic, even before, or and even if you don't have it, you should get it now. It's like a virtual CFO, a virtual chief financial officer, or someone who you can call to for advice on your business financials, who understand your business, understand your industry. They look at your numbers, and they can help you figure out, hey, listen, here's how you prepare for this. Here are the costs that you can start cutting, or here's some of the strategies that you can do on your marketing to kind of communicate with your customers and explain what's going on, and be able to, but they not go that deep, but they might tell you about the numbers, how much you can spend and how much you should allocate, and be able to pay yourself, for example, strategies like that. So that's what a CFO can do, is help you with the programming, where the funds go, based on your industry and your business. So I mentioned attorney, I mentioned accountant or financial person, right? That's specifically for businesses. Insurance agents. Insurance agents is also part of your dream team. A lot of people ask me all the time, how should I start my business? Should I be a sole proprietor, an LLC, a corporation, all that? I'm saying, like, you know what? Let's discuss that with your attorney, your accountant. Here's some of the benefits. Here's some of the differences of the various entities. Regardless of which entity you choose, you should look at insurance, what type of insurance is best for you. And if you need it. And there's all different types of insurance out there. I know some people that do crafts, and they just go to festivals, or maybe folks that are building like skincare lines, they have creams, or they have soaps, or they have different things. There's the insurance even for that, just I get it that is it could be somewhat expensive. There's certain groups that have umbrella insurance policies that you can join in,
Hmm.
and there's trade associations, right? So trade association, chambers of commerce are also part of your dream team. You have to kind of
Yeah.
connect with the community because they're gonna connect you to resources that you may not know about, and so those are some of the members. Oh, your lender. Sorry, I forgot one
Yes.
more. Your lender, your banker, right?
Yes.
Um, yeah, your lender, your bank. We are very used to online banking, and we love it. I love it. I love it
Yeah.
not having to go to the branch.
I
But guess what?
know.
When you're a business owner, you need to make a point to go to the branch and meet the bankers. Yes, they move all the time. You know, they might change. One bank might change for another, whatever. But it's still good to have that human connection with
Yeah.
your lender or your bank, because in the times of need, you can, you can reach to that to say, hey, I need your help. You've seen me going to your bank, every Monday depositing or taking out
Yes.
money or whatever. I
Yeah.
really need your help now to figure out this whole PPP situation, the portal. Can you give me a call back? And guess
Yeah.
what? If they know you, if they hear your voice and they know who you are, you'll probably get a call back a lot quicker,
Yeah.
than other customers.
Yes, I love this. I love this dream team concept. And we have such a wealth, I think, of locally based businesses, all the kinds that you're talking about. I mean, there are great insurance companies, great local banks. I just feel like in the Valley, there are so many wonderful contact points and people who are ready to help you. And I feel like what you're pointing to, and can be really easy to forget when you're in business for yourself and you're running a small business sometimes, that you don't have to do it all alone. And
Right.
it sounds so simple when we're sitting here talking about it, but when you're going through it, when you're in it, COVID aside, owning a small business is hard. And so just like
Hmm.
you're saying, really getting out in front of building these relationships, and then you know also putting kind of the onus of keeping that relationship up on those providers. I mean, I got a really lovely email from my home insurance provider the other day, who I haven't talked to in I don't know how long, and she was like, "Hey, hope you're okay," and it just made me feel so good. So it's building those relationships. It goes so far. I love the idea of a dream team. It's so cool. So I want to shift a little bit. Oh, and I before I do, I will give my call because I do see some folks watching, including Kristen at NAI Plotkin. Hey, Kristen,
Hmm.
we miss you.
Hmm.
I do want to give a call. If you're watching and you'd like to ask a question, I do not have to be the only question asker. So please feel free on that right-hand side in the comments, put your question in there and I will get it over to Samalid right now and she'll answer it. If you're watching this after the fact, feel free to reach out by email or on Facebook and I will get your question answered then retroactively as well. But I wanted to ask, and this is sort of shifting from the work that you do a little bit into sort of your personal journey, which I just find um, to be so fascinating in the sense that, and I think it's very appropriate right now in COVID to talk about because so many people are kind of going through a moment of like, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right job? Is this profession really, lighting me up? Does it feel good? And you have had a really interesting career and a really interesting career path, and you've made changes to your position, it seems like, at really opportune times. And I'm wondering, how do you advise people to kind of listen in and know when making a move is right for them, whether it's expanding their business or changing professions altogether? What advice do you have about making sure that you're kind of listening in and following the course that's right for you?
Right. Great question, Hannah. So, you know, when I switched positions, I remember I first started after UMass. I graduated from UMass back a ways back, and I first joined financial services industry as a financial advisor, and I got my Series 6, 63, my life insurance. Uh, you know, my life insurance. certification or license to be able to sell life insurance. And I thought I was going to do that for a long time because I really enjoy working with people, as you can see. I'm definitely an extrovert, and I love helping people and figuring things out, solving problems. And so I think that's at the core what you have to be truth to is like what you really
Mm,
like to do, regardless
yeah.
of of which organization you're with or what your role may be. They whatever you love to do, if you love solving problems, if you love talking to people, find careers or roles that follow that
Yes.
lead you to do those things. Not like going to, like a scientist that does research because you're probably going to be in front of the computer and at the library and reading books all the time, and yes, you will interact with other people, but so you kind of follow really what you're really passionate about. And I'm
Yeah.
passionate about people, and I'm passionate about problem solving, and just learning about resources. I
Yeah.
love to learn something new every day. I started a YouTube channel, which I haven't put in interviews there in a while, but my slogan is learn something new every day. And I
Yes.
really that's what I tell myself every day. What did I learn today at the end of the day? And for my career, I kind of it seems like I stumble upon different opportunities at various
Mm,
times, when I got myself out there to meet people and to interact with other folks. And then I saw a need. I saw a need there was an issue, a problem, and I saw a need, and I said, you know what, I love to work on that. Like, I
yeah.
love to solve that problem or solve that need and work on that. And besides, my own passion and wanting to do it, I was very fortunate. I have a very supportive partner who was like, you know what, I'm here for you. I'll be the rock. I'll keep the steady job while you go and pursue your crazy ideas, and so and sometimes the ideas weren't that crazy. Like, I
Yeah,
went
right.
from doing the financial services to working for the state as a chief of staff for Cheryl Coakley Rivera, and then I
Wow.
went to work for the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and then the city of Springfield, and on and on. So
Gosh.
many of those moves weren't crazy. I think when it started getting a little crazy was when I started, dabbling in entrepreneurship and starting my own business with Cowork Springfield many
Yeah.
years back. That's where it started getting like a little like, whoa, what are you doing? You have this steady government job with all these benefits and you get a
Yeah.
steady paycheck. Why on earth would you want to like chance all that and and
Right.
and go into self-employment, right? But I saw the need when I was
Yeah.
working for the city of Springfield. We running the small business loan program. Many of the folks that were applying couldn't were not eligible because they didn't have a business location, and many of them
Oh,
um, they could not afford to rent the business locations. That's the truth. So
yeah.
and some of them were renting. They were renting. They didn't have their own homes, so they couldn't run a home-based business. And depending on their zoning, they may or may not be able to get a
Right.
business certificate anyway. Anyway, long story short, I said to myself, most of these people happen to be women. They happen to be people of color,
Hmm.
Latinos, Black. And I was like, there's got to be some solution out there for these folks to be able to start their business and get some help from the city,
Yeah.
access to these loan funds. There was loan to grant kind of funds. And so, which right now, by the way, they do have available through Common Capital. I gotta put that out there.
Yes.
There's a small business loan program through Common Capital right there for businesses in Springfield.
Yeah.
So we can, people want to know more about that, they can reach out
Yes.
to Common
Yes.
Capital or to
Such a great
myself.
organization.
Right. And so when I saw that need, I said to myself, I attended some of the programming. So again, in pursuit of learning something new every day, I signed up for some of the workshops that Mass Development was doing. It. This is going back 2013, 2014. Okay.
Yeah.
My daughter was born in 2013. I know we're going to
Oh,
talk about her a little bit, later. So my daughter was born in 2013. So, and in 2013, 2014 is when I started Co-work Springfield. But before that, I attended mass development programs on this collaborative workspaces program that's
yeah.
now has been going on for many, many years. People are now familiar with it. But at the beginning, people weren't familiar with co-work
Right.
spaces. You have Work Part in Boston, you had a WeWorks, or you had
Yes.
other, Regis, I think it's office works, in other
Mhm.
states, in other parts of this state, but not in Western Mass,
Yeah.
you know. And so I looked to solve that problem. Guess what? Once I started Cowork Springfield, and it started to get noticed, I started getting calls for other opportunities to do other jobs and other
Yeah.
programs. And that's when I decided to switch and do some consulting for the city of Holyoke, the Holyoke Innovation District. And so
Yeah.
it's just kind of like an ongoing series of, like, I found a challenge, an opportunity, I pursue it, I go for it, and other doors open.
Yeah.
And I'm just really conscientious and aware of these opportunities opening, not because necessarily I'm looking for them, but it's also
Right.
because it's in the realm of what I want to do, which is do things that matter, that have impact in in our community.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I think that suggestion of just staying open while identifying what you are really good at and what brings you joy is so crucial. And I'm curious too, um, you said something the other day when we were talking about kind of your approach to networking, to meeting people, and how it's really important to you to be doing that without an agenda. And I feel like I hear that a lot from people, especially young people starting out, who are like, oh, I'm not good at networking, or I don't want to sell myself, or I don't, I feel like I'm not being authentic. How do you suggest to people ways to network authentically, ways to bring the work that you're talking about, knowing your purpose, knowing what you're good at? How do you bring that out when you're out in the community meeting people and connecting?
Mhm. Well, be curious. Stay
Mm,
curious. That's how you need to approach these.
yeah.
Not need to. I shouldn't say that in my coaching. Like, I don't say you need to do this or you should. No, I said,
Do
like, I
it.
suggest, I suggest, or it's my recommendation that you
Yeah.
approach this with curiosity, and that is
Yeah.
what I say. Because when you're curious about someone, when you're networking with someone, you're not. It's not an FBI interrogation. Okay, I said,
Right.
and who do you work for, and what do you do, and who's your boss, and where's
Yeah.
your office? You're not, you really want to approach it from a curiosity mindset,
Yeah.
where you kind of want to know about that person's role in the organization, what they're passionate about, and I'm not telling you to ask, oh, so what are you passionate about? Either. It's more, it just comes in conversation, as to say, okay, so you can introduce yourself, you do your elevator pitch, right? You have to, 30 seconds or so, where you kind of tell them a little bit about what you do, and kind of like through a little bit of a hook line, so that if they're interested in learning more, there's the opening to say, oh, really? So you work for the small business center, and tell me more about that. So what do you actually do with clients? Like, what do you do with small
Yeah.
business? And you start that conversation, and then back at them and say, well, I know I've told you what I do and how I interact with clients. So tell me about what you do in your company, and how do you help clients, and how do you get into that in the first place? So people are okay talking sometimes about that, and being good at networking takes practice.
Yes.
It does. we're
Yes.
not we're not perfect at it, and we all have different personalities. Okay, some of us are really like extroverts, and it's sort of like easy for us to get out there. On the other hand, we could also be shutting down some people, so we have to be a little bit careful with
Mhm.
that, right? Because if we
Yes.
come on too
So
strong,
important.
if we come on too strong, you know, people are gonna run away and be like, "Oh my God, she's too much for me." And I try to be mindful of that when I'm speaking with people, and I
Yeah.
actually do pursue actively the if I'm in a networking event and there's a one person that's just standing there, maybe just kind of hovering, looking around or looking at the phone, I would go to that person and kind of introduce myself and just be curious about who they are. And a 5-minute conversation is all, or 5 or 10 minutes is all it really needs. And you can always sort of end it very politely, say, "Oh, it's been great speaking with you. I hope I see you again in another meeting." Or if you really want to connect with that person, it's like, "It's been great speaking with you. Is it okay if I get your business card or your contact so we can,
Yeah.
set up a follow up call or appointment to kind of just check in and see if there's any way we could collaborate in the future, or any projects that will be of interest to either of us. You ask for permission. So first you're curious, and
Yeah.
second you ask for permission. If you ask for permission, you won't seem pushy or overbearing or anything like that by calling people. But if you don't ask for permission, all of a sudden you're calling them and you're emailing them and you're texting them and you're harassing them on social media. Well, guess what? They're not going to want to talk to you.
Right. It's too much.
It's too much. It's like, I'm going to send you to my secretary and she'll figure it out, like 3 months from now when we can meet or something like that.
Right.
No, just kidding. Some people do send you to their admins, but because they have them. So
Yeah.
don't be turned off by that either.
Yeah.
Like people have their systems of setting up appointments, and especially now with the pandemic, I've seen a lot of people do Calendly or any of these other automated appointment systems to set up appointments with people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I respect that. I respect their system and how they prefer to be contacted, if there's on the phone or Zoom, and how they want to be set up their appointments, because we have this life work balance that we're dealing with, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of challenges that come with, working from home all the time. Everybody thinks
Hmm.
it's a breeze, and I'm sure people that have been working from home for many, many years, they got discovered. But for some of us who were at the office Monday through Friday, and
Yes.
even out there sometimes Saturdays and Sundays, going to
Right.
events and just being out there all the time, working from home, it's been quite an adjustment.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I love that. That's such wonderful advice. And I know that you've done a lot of work with women, with people of color, to bring, more accessibility. And I'm curious, one thing that comes up a lot lately, I think, when around this conversation of diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? That's all over the business community. Everybody's focusing on it. Everyone wants to, understand how to do better with all three of those concepts. And when you're working with young people, or anyone really, I think it feels to me like we're in this sort of tipping point where there has been a certain vernacular and way of doing things that has been very white informed. And now we're opening up space. To me, a lot of the diversity, equity, and inclusion is about opening up to things in the business world being done differently, which is exciting. How do you encourage people to come at it authentically from who they are, from their cultural roots, with their story and their way of talking and presenting things? How do we kind of break down the code switching necessity of things and turn it more into a workspace that is really welcoming of everyone in every kind of business? I know that's a huge question. I'm sorry.
It is a big question. From the point of view of a business owner, or even an employee, I think it all comes down to respect.
Mm,
If you really base all of your decisions and the way you interact with people based on respect, I think it leads to better outcomes. It leads to
yes.
better to building trust and communication.
Mm,
So respect, trust, and communication are key. And those are, to me, are the foundation of, so this inclusivity and diversity. Because when you respect someone, you're open to, you're curious, and you're open about how they want to be communicated with, or
mm,
if they have certain customs,
yeah.
certain customs, whether there's some religious beliefs or certain type of clothing that they have to wear, and they want to work in the workplace, because that's what represents us, that's what's
Yeah.
part of their beliefs. Uh, and also, if they speak a different language, right? And they're speaking a different language with other coworkers in the workplace, right? It's if you know that people are respectful, they're not really talking about you.
Right.
Okay. So they might be speaking some other language, they might be speaking Spanish, or whatever other language they're speaking, and they're a team member. If you build that relationship of trust and respect, you know that it's you're a team, and you're not going to be disrespecting each other in whatever language it is,
Right.
and so when you have that openness to be respectful and open and curious about people, you're actually able to
Yeah.
listen and address any situation that comes your way, with that authenticity and that really wanting to be able to be helpful and learn from other people, and not really try to impose your beliefs on them
Yeah.
or your way of solving a problem. So like I said before, like I love problem solving, and I do have a very dominant sort of type of personality. So in many groups, I do end up being a leader or a co-leader. And so, and I've learned over time, yeah, I don't have to be the person in charge to help solve a problem. And I
Hmm.
can and the best way to find a solution to a problem is to listen to those folks who are experiencing that issue,
Yeah.
and then even help. They might even have. I know everybody. You have the solution in you. You know exactly what the solution is. So being able to create an environment and a company culture or a business culture where people can feel free to express their opinions and feel that they're in a safe space, that they're not going to be judged, or even if they're a little judged, nobody's going to take action on it, right? Because we all
Yes.
have our opinions. We're
We
human
all have our
beings.
opinions.
That's the other very important thing. We're human beings. And
Yes.
sometimes, we get upset, we get
Yeah.
angry, we say things we don't mean, sometimes, whatever. So understanding that part too, but being able to kind of have a space at work or professionally where you can just focus more on the respect, where the anger could sort of take a back seat and go like, okay, if I'm angry right now because of what's happening, the
Mm.
situation, I'm going to be respectful and just say, listen, we need to have another conversation another time. I
Yeah.
respectfully going to remove myself from this conversation. Let's circle back later, and then
Yes.
have that private talk and conversation about whatever situation happened, and just kind of having that. I think that comes to emotional intelligence, right? They talk a lot
Yes.
about that too, about having that ability to really communicate what's happening, and be able to control your own emotions,
Mm.
and be able to react to a situation in the best way possible. But guess
Yeah.
what? Sometimes we don't react to a situation in the best ways possible, so we
Right.
need to learn to recognize that, and be mindful, so that next time we can respond to a situation in the best way possible. So in
Yes.
terms of policies, it's great for businesses to think of this ahead of time, perhaps in the employee manuals, in their meetings with people, in every single interaction. Having that company culture and that message that you want to set, the tone that you want to set in your company, is super
Yeah.
important. If teamwork is super important in your company, building trust and relationships
Mm.
is key. And you have to have that openness. If it's more individual people and everybody doing their own thing, and you just want to make sure that you're the coach and everybody else is doing their own thing and they're working for you, and that that's a different kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
But there's still, you need to have that respect and that trust building.
Yes. Absolutely. God, Samalid, I love you so much. I love that you're talking about emotional intelligence. And I just feel like you come at the work with so much empathy and compassion building as being just as important as the sort of nuts and bolts building of a business. I just think that's remarkable. There's a question coming through about what constitutes a small business. So kind of going back to the beginning of what your office does, how do you define a small business that would fit under the parameters of what you're working with?
Right, right. So first, a quick comment. If you own your own business, it's never small. It's like it takes over your world. It's like the one thing that you're really focused on, that you really, really want to work in, for whatever reason, whether you want to make it your legacy, or when you want to sell it to another company, and
Ah,
make, gazillion dollars and retire or something like that. It is a big deal.
yes.
No business is really small for the owner. It's a big deal. But in terms of just general, classification, for programs, for being eligible for programs stuff, the SBA defines small businesses 500 employees or less. Now, here in Western Mass, in several years back, I recall we had a couple of studies about the composition of our businesses here in Western Mass. I think it was something like 75% or more are like under 20 employees or under 20, 25 employees and under.
Wow.
And so, and in Springfield, it's like 10 and under, like 90%, it was 10 and under employees. So, um, you know, for us, in my office, we don't worry about which business we talk to because almost all of them are going to be small business, nobody who we talk to. You
Right.
know, if you go by that 500 employee definition or less. Now here also in this Western Mass, one of the things that we've kind of come across is that there's programs that are for the entire state, right? And they have some requirements sometimes about the gross sales or the gross
Right.
income of a business being like a million or 1.5 or 2 million or whatever. Sometimes it's a threshold for joining some of those programs, but here in Western Mass we're really looking at 500,000 or even 100,000 a
Yeah.
year, for some of these small businesses, because one person can be a business, one
Right.
person to be a solopreneur and be their own boss and run their own business and have contractors and not employees, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to we work with all of the businesses here in Western Mass.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That was a good question and a good definition. That's so helpful. So I know we're getting close to time. I would encourage anyone who has a last minute question, please feel free to throw it out there. But I did want to uh, just one more sort of personal skewed question because
Mhm.
when we were talking the other day, and you mentioned your daughter being born in 2013, so you've got a smaller person in the house who's trying to live her life and get her stuff done. And you mentioned that you sort of set up this office for her in a closet that I think is right behind your chair.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
right
I
there.
just I was so struck by that and loved that idea because I think what young people are going through, everything from the 7, 8, 9 year olds all the way through to the college students in this area, they're all trying to navigate this time of COVID and kind of stay on a track, and they will be the future business leaders if they want to be
Mhm.
in the area sometimes. How do when you're watching her and you're just trying to kind of keep her moving forward, what's some advice that you put out there to parents specifically, whether they're business owners or not, about you know keeping themselves on track while keeping their littler people on track as well?
Right. Right. So this is something, we struggle with, especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think when you ask for advice, like, from parent to the parent about working with children in general, having a routine is so important,
Mm,
like a ritual, building rituals. And
yeah.
so at the beginning, it was kind of tough building the ritual of, first of all, so my daughter, she didn't have prior to COVID, she had an iPad that I let her borrow, that I was using, but then she kind of took over and she was playing Minecraft on and all of that. But, this is her first computer, her first laptop is a Chromebook.
Yeah.
We got the Chromebook. We had the opportunity to get a school offered Chromebook, but we decided, financially we're doing okay. Let's go buy her one and let
Mm,
another student be able to have access to that Chromebook.
yeah.
And so she had her own Chromebook, and then very quickly we determined, if she's going to be on these calls all day, she's going to need a space where she can have some, not privacy, but like let she can have all of her school materials and everything in her books and her pencils and her laptop and everything all in one place that she can come to and almost feel like, again, it's a routine. She's got her own space, just like she used to go to school. She would have her own space in the house to go to school. And
Yeah.
so we had this room in my basement, which my husband finished, that was supposed to be a bathroom, and it's the size of a closet. Okay, it was going to be a half bath. Okay, just a toilet and sink, and that's all it would fit in there, in a little linen closet. And so we hadn't finished it. It was just empty. And we're like, let's see if we can fit one on the desk. So we had a desk upstairs in the sitting room that we don't really use. It has a couple plants on it, and it had a couple of pictures on it or whatever. And we took some measurements, like it's a corner desk and it's ideal for this space. So we put it downstairs. We put her laptop there, and she got started. And at the beginning, she was in the kitchen table, like in the dining room table. But then, there's noise.
Yeah.
We're walking around, or there's somebody's cooking in the kitchen, so she could hear it, and so it wasn't
Right.
ideal. In her room, she has all her toys.
Right.
She's got books and everything like that. So
That's a lot of
we could have,
focus to ask.
yeah. So yeah, it could be kind of distracting. So, but in this office, or in this closet that we
Right.
converted to an office, it does have ventilation. By the way, folks, we're not just
Yeah.
locking her up in the
She's fine.
closet. um, and she sometimes leave the door open and whatnot, but she feels like that's her school, that's her
Yeah.
office, that's her space. She decorated the walls with her school materials and pictures, and it just really feels for those folks who don't have that space in the
Yeah.
home, whether it's a corner of a particular room. I know some people have come up with ideas with like those room dividers, that the accordion room
Yeah.
dividers. You can put it behind the child, so that way that's their background for their calls, and
Yes.
that way people are not looking, their other kids are not looking inside the house.
Yeah.
So things like that.
Yeah.
And even folding tables from like a TV tray table. I remember thinking
Right.
about that one time, and they were like, that's good, but it has, anyway, we since we had the means to do it, to go all the way and create an office for her, we created an office for her. And most recently, we bought her like a small bookcase, so she could put all her paper and her books and everything, because they keep giving her
Good.
new books. And so, she has her own bookshelf. So yeah, and it's great. And sometimes, so it's challenging at times, because I'm on a call, I'm on a phone or in the computer like all day. And I do feel that stress when she's
Yeah.
coming over. She has a question, and I feel bad because I can't answer her. I have to go like,
Yeah.
I'm on the call, honey. I'm on the phone. And
Aw.
and I feel bad. She has to wait until I'm done.
Yeah.
So sometimes, so we make some space we gave some feedback to the teacher. That's the first thing we did. We said, our child is needing some, they had like maybe 3 or 4 calls a day, lasting maybe about 30, 40 minutes. And we felt like in between they were giving her classwork, which is in first grade, and she's just learning to read, and she's doing really good, but she
Yeah.
couldn't read the instructions. So the teachers are really good about doing videos with
Yeah.
instructions, but even then she might still need additional help. So we gave some feedback to the teacher and said, listen, our child is still having a lot of questions about this homework and everything. And it's not that we don't want to help her, but is during the day we're working. Is there any way you can help, like have some time to answer their questions? So she created at the end of the school day, 2:30 or so, she would do
Yeah.
this this win time. I'm trying to remember what it stands for, but anyway, what it's something about what you need, or something, what
Yeah.
I need time. That's what it is. And
Yes.
so kids can stay on the call with the teacher longer and ask her about work that they couldn't complete throughout the day because they had a question. And
That's
so
so
the teacher will
cool.
help them with that. So things like that help a lot. So, and I know we're asking a lot of our teachers, and God bless them.
Oh,
They probably, you
yeah.
know, they're going through a lot with this transition, but I think it's a partnership, right, between you and your child's educators, and really
Yeah.
communicating what your child needs,
Yeah.
and what you need to be able to stay
Yes.
sane and do
Yes.
work from home.
Yeah.
So
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. And Samalid, thank you so much for all your time today and all your advice. For everyone watching, I'm going to link to all of the resources that Sam mentioned today, so you can find them easily. But if you are a small business owner, I can't recommend enough to reach out to Samalid's office, reach out to your local chamber, get the support that you need. And I so appreciate you coming on here and talking with us.
thank you, Hannah, and I'm so glad I met you at the Mill District up there in Amherst at your tour. That was amazing. I love what you guys are doing up there in North Amherst at the Mill
Oh,
District. And
thank you.
and you mentioned Kristen was watching earlier from an
Yes.
talking, and I worked with them for a little while. And due to the pandemic, I kind of
Yeah.
had to switch gears a little bit. But I love real estate. I love the development you guys are doing up there. So good job on
Thank
that. And
you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.